There comes a time in your life when you decide, enough. Enough giving your power to pain. Enough bowing to the fear of what others might say, might do, might think. Enough reliving old wounds and calling them your story. You did not come here to suffer. You came here to reign. You came here to rise. You came here to walk in spiritual dominion. And I declare to you now, nothing and nobody will hurt you ever again. Why? Because today you remember who you are. You are not some fragile creature stumbling through chaos. You are a divine expression of infinite mind, encased in the light of spiritual law. You are surrounded by a force that no eye can see, but every spirit recognizes. It is protection. It is peace. It is power. It is yours. From this moment forward, you are untouchable, not because the world has changed, but because you have changed. You no longer consent to suffering. You no longer invite drama through reaction. You no longer wear your wounds as armor. You speak peace, you think peace, you radiate peace, and peace becomes your fortress. When you walk into a room, negativity has no place to land. When they speak ill of you, their words dissolve before they reach your ears. When chaos comes knocking, you answer with silence, and the storm forgets why it came. This is not fantasy. This is spiritual law. That which you do not entertain cannot enter. That which you do not believe has no hold. And the one who walks in truth is shielded from every lie, every weapon, every plot of darkness that dares try to touch the light. Do you know what happens when you forgive? Not just once, but fully? You become unshackled. You rise above the story. You drop the weight of "they hurt me," and replace it with "they cannot reach me." You are no longer bound to their actions or their energy. You float above it, graced, guided, guarded. And hear this. When you speak the word of power, you are writing your protection into the fabric of the universe. Declare it. Nothing and nobody can hurt me. I am surrounded by divine love. I walk in perfect safety. Every person, every place, every situation is now harmonized by truth. And so it will be. Not because you forced it, but because truth is always stronger than fear. You are not breakable. You are not vulnerable. You are not at the mercy of this world. You are protected. You are chosen. You are untouchable. From this moment forward, the past no longer has claws. The fear no longer has fangs. And the pain no longer has permission. Nothing and nobody will hurt you ever again. Because now, you remember who you are. You are not a victim of your surroundings, nor are you at the mercy of other people's moods, words, or choices. You are the architect of your inner world and the gatekeeper of your experience. Every moment, you are choosing what to allow in and what to reject. Spiritual dominion is not about controlling others. It is about mastering yourself. It is about recognizing that the only real power anything or anyone has over you is the power you grant them through your focus, your emotion, and your belief. You were never meant to be a sponge for negativity, soaking in every insult, judgment, or painful memory. You were meant to be a radiant center of divine authority, immune to the darts of the world because your atmosphere is set by truth. When you truly understand this, the need to defend, react, or retaliate fades away. You no longer live at the whim of other people's behavior. You stop explaining yourself. You stop trying to make others understand or approve. You step into your own vibration, your own power, and from that place, nothing can shake you. There may still be conflict around you, but it no longer lives in you. People may speak harsh words, but they bounce off the shield of your calm. Situations may arise, but you respond, you do not react. That is dominion. That is spiritual sovereignty. And it begins the moment you say, I no longer accept fear, offense, or pain as my teachers. I will not let temporary people disrupt my eternal peace. You reclaim your energy when you stop absorbing everything around you and start choosing what belongs in your spirit. You see, what you give attention to grows. If you dwell on the betrayal, the criticism, the injustice, it becomes bigger in your mind and heavier in your heart. But the moment you say, I cancel that, I do not receive it, you cut off its power supply. You are not denying reality. You are commanding your reality. The spiritual warrior does not fight every battle. They simply refuse to lower their vibration for anyone or anything. When you are rooted in truth, your presence speaks before you say a word. People feel your peace. They sense your confidence. The very energy around you says, this soul is not available for chaos. And those who once sought to provoke you lose interest, not because they've changed, but because they no longer have access to you. Your spirit is your domain. Your mind is your sanctuary. Your emotions are sacred territory. Nothing enters unless you allow it. And once you realize that, you become invincible, not through force, but through spiritual alignment. You don't need to fight for peace. You need only claim it, guard it, and refuse to hand it over to anything that does not match your worth. Every word you speak is either a sword or a seed, a weapon of destruction or a tool of creation. Your words are not empty noise. They are living forces, charged with spiritual power. They go forth into the invisible and create after their kind. When you speak of protection, you build a shield. When you speak of harm, you open a door. The universe listens to your declarations, not your wishes, not your fears, but the words you choose to make law in your life. And so I say to you, speak power, not pain. Speak safety, not fear. Speak victory, not vulnerability. It is not enough to think positive thoughts while speaking words of doubt, complaint, or defeat. The mouth must match the mind, and the mind must be renewed by truth. If you say, I'm always being hurt, the law responds, so be it. If you say, people always take advantage of me, you have cast a spell that invites repetition. But when you say, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, you do not merely quote, you command. You invoke divine law, and the universe must obey. Words are your spiritual instructions to life. They are like commands issued to a loyal army. They do not argue. They do not question. They execute. That is why the wise soul does not speak carelessly. The wise soul speaks intentionally, deliberately, with power and precision. You must guard your words as you would guard your treasures, because they are treasures. They are the architects of your tomorrow. And when you speak safety, peace, and divine order, you are not begging for protection. You are establishing it. There is no neutral word. Every word carries a vibration. The vibration either lifts or lowers, builds or breaks. Words of fear invite more fear. Words of love attract more love. So if you would walk in a life free from harm, you must declare it as so. Not once, not occasionally, but consistently. Declare it in the morning. I am safe. I am protected. I walk in the armor of divine love. Declare it in moments of doubt. Nothing and nobody can hurt me. I am divinely guided and guarded. Declare it when the world offers fear. This has no power over me. I dwell in peace. Even when trouble comes knocking, your words decide what happens next. The one who speaks panic fuels the fire. The one who speaks peace calms the storm. Words are not reactions. They are instruments of dominion. And the soul that has mastered its speech has mastered its experience. Your words go ahead of you. They create the atmosphere into which you step. They prepare the way, clear the path, and call forth the invisible forces of protection and provision. So speak boldly. Speak wisely. Speak as one who knows that spiritual law is listening, and will never fail to deliver. For when your words align with truth, no harm can reach you, and no darkness can dim your light. There is no true protection without release, no real peace without forgiveness. As long as you hold on to hurt, to betrayal, to resentment, you are tethered to the very things you wish to escape. Pain clings not because it is strong, but because we keep carrying it. Freedom is not found in resistance, it is found in release. And forgiveness is the divine scissors that cuts the invisible cords tying you to suffering. To forgive is not to excuse. It is to liberate. It is to say, you no longer have the power to live rent-free in my mind. You no longer get to define my future with what you did in my past. The soul that forgives becomes light, untouchable, above it all. Why? Because it no longer identifies with the wound. So many walk through life rehearsing old injuries, keeping them alive by repeating them in story after story. But your spirit was not designed to be a museum of pain. It was created to be a sanctuary of peace. You cannot be fully protected while still dragging the past behind you like a chain. You cannot walk freely into the new while still entangled with the old. Forgiveness is the key that unlocks the prison you forgot you were in. The great spiritual secret is this: what you forgive, you release. And what you release can no longer touch you. The person who hurt you cannot hurt you again unless you invite them back through bitterness. The moment you say, I forgive this, and I release it into the divine fire, you lift yourself out of their reach. You ascend. You become a soul unshackled. It is not weakness, it is power. It is the highest form of spiritual strength to say, I do not need an apology to be free. I choose peace over poison. I choose truth over torment. Every time you forgive, your vibration rises. Every time you release, your spirit becomes lighter, clearer, more aligned with your true self. And when you are aligned, you are protected. You attract differently. You speak differently. You carry yourself as one who knows, I am no longer carrying what was never mine to keep. What happened may have been unfair, even cruel, but it is no longer happening. It only lives in your energy if you continue to feed it. Forgiveness is starving the past so that your future can live. Let go not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Let go because your destiny cannot thrive in an atmosphere of resentment. Let go because nothing and nobody can hurt you ever again, unless you leave the door open through unforgiveness. When you release, you rise. When you rise, you become untouchable. You step into a realm where nothing outside of you can disturb the kingdom within. So forgive it. Bless it. Let it go. Not because you are weak, but because you are done being bound. Because you were never meant to suffer, you were meant to soar. Darkness only appears powerful when you forget who you are. Fear only feels real when you lose sight of truth. But once you remember, once you truly know deep within that you are spirit, eternal, divine, every threat loses its grip, every shadow fades, and every lie crumbles. The truth is that you are an unharmable soul clothed in light. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are not fragile. You are not under attack. You are protected, guided, and surrounded by divine intelligence, and nothing unreal can touch what is real in you. You do not fight darkness. You shine through it. You do not wrestle with fear. You replace it with truth. The more you align with your true nature, the more the illusions of pain and harm dissolve before you. Light doesn't argue with darkness. It simply appears, and the darkness must flee. And so it is with truth. The moment you begin to stand in it, speak from it, and walk by it, everything not rooted in it must disappear. You become immune to fear, immune to attack, immune to the noise of the world, because your peace is no longer based on conditions. It is anchored in the unshakable. You were never meant to live on defense, always bracing for what might go wrong. That is not spiritual life. That is survival. You were meant to walk in quiet confidence, knowing that your being is protected by the light of God itself. You were meant to walk boldly through life, not flinching at shadows, not dodging people's judgments, not adjusting yourself to avoid harm. When you live in truth, you are free. And when you are free, nothing and nobody can touch you. The world may try to convince you otherwise. It may point to the threats, the betrayals, the heartbreaks. But what the world does not understand is that truth is not subject to opinion. It is eternal. It is absolute. And when you align yourself with it, you stand in a fortress not made by human hands. You become untouchable not because life stops happening, but because you stop being moved by appearances. You stop reacting to every shift of the wind. You stop chasing external validation. You begin to live from within, where the truth has always been, waiting for you to remember. Nothing real can be threatened. Your worth cannot be diminished. Your safety cannot be stolen. Your spirit cannot be harmed. The moment you stop identifying with the false, the fleeting, the wounded parts of you, and begin to claim your true identity as a being of light, you change your reality. The storms may still come, but they no longer shake your foundation. The insults may be spoken, but they bounce off your truth like pebbles on stone. You are light. You are truth. You are eternal. And the one who knows this, not just in theory but in practice, becomes fearless. Be that one. Stand in truth. Shine through darkness. And live knowing that you are forever beyond the reach of harm.